waves. We have controls over shipping. We have controls over transportation, over foodstuffs, over agriculture. We have all these things. And are not we better off? Are not we improved in our lives here in local economy in Chattanooga, Tennessee? And well, maybe so. But the rise of the progressive state was also simultaneous the rise of the warfare state. And are we not, as we make note today of Veterans Day, are we not surrounded by conversation and sort of kind of, I would say, somewhat fanciful appreciation of soldiers who have survived? Are we not now ready to think about this question, perhaps in a little bit more depth? Because there is a connection in the eyes of the state between the control of the people, their subjugation, if you will, for the benefit of the whole, for the benefit of the state, and the constant bickering, the constant taking of offense, the constant sense of indignation that arises in the Capitol when some of the power has stepped on our toe, and we are going to set things right, and we are going to maintain our dignity among the sovereigns, right? Among the sovereigns, though ours is not merely a fief, as in the High Middle Ages, when you had the Lord obtaining vassals, service of vassals. We're not just fiefs anymore, extending a few square miles around a couple of castles and some fields and forest and a river. We are, we say, we Americans, we have an empire that has 260 million people in it. It has subsumed 50 countries, some of whom entered willingly, others who are perhaps bribed in compliance to stay in the Union now. And we are a giant machine, of a huge war-making machine that is facing a cancer, and it is facing a kind of Alzheimer's on one hand, a kind of apoplexy in its nervous system today, bringing us to think about local economy, bringing us to think about what we can do here to improve our situation, and I think be maybe a little more knowing about how it works, so that we can use, you might say, the graces that are elsewhere. Bourne talks about the grace of the state, and how government is the enfleshment of that grace, that supreme power that saves men, right? It saves men from their sins through social programs, right? So the social program, the social ideals of the modern state were much enhanced, much encouraged by Christianity, by the wing of Christianity that you could call liberal, the liberal wing, which doubted the providence of God, doubted the sovereignty of God in the scriptures, and made little use of its laws, but thought very highly of the John Owen collectivist line of thinking, the John Dewey line of thinking, and wanted to bring about salvation for an entire people, not soul by soul, but somehow as a mass, in a mass system, a mass ritual, and doing that by the welfare state, which of course now is burdened. It has become an entitlement. No one has grace anymore. We all have rights that we assert against the machine, which no longer is the mother suckling, offering her suckling breast to her children, but it is a kind of scavenger with fangs looking down on us as we look up at it, and slowly, uncertainly now, placing our lips upon the nipple, not sure if we are her breakfast, not sure if she will not incinerate us after we have had our fill and are feeling a little sleepy. As you remember, your children were when they were breastfeeding, they would nurse and nurse, and then the lips would slow down, and the nipple would fall out of the mouth, and the little gums would be closed over by the lips, and the eyes shut, and the child then put into his crib for his nap after feeding. Well, we are in that situation, and because we're not sure of the one up to whom we look, we are perhaps vulnerable, and I think we're vulnerable in many ways. Bourne says war, or at least modern war waged by a democratic republic against a powerful enemy, seems to achieve for a nation almost all that the most informed political idealist could desire. Citizens are no longer indifferent to their government, but each cell of the body politic is brimming with life and activity. You see, war in that time was one that energized the whole people, Alvin York among them. We are at last on the way to full realization of that collective community, he says, in which each individual somehow contains the virtue of the whole. In a nation at war, every citizen identifies himself with the whole and feels immensely strengthened by that identification. This is Randolph Bourne in his very famous essay, The State, of which the chief line is, war is the health of the state. He goes on to say, the purpose and desire of the collective community live in each person who throws himself wholeheartedly into the cause of the war. The impeding distinction between society and the individual is almost blotted out. At war, the individual becomes almost identical with his society. He achieves a superb self-assurance and intuition of the rightness of all his ideas and emotions, so that in the suppression of opponents or heretics, he is invincibly strong. He feels behind him all the power of the collective community. The individual, as social being in war, seems to have achieved almost his apotheosis, he says. Not for any religious impulse could the American nation have been expected to show such devotion en masse, such sacrifice and labor, certainly not for any secular good, such as universal education or the subjugation of nature. Would it have poured forth its treasure and its life, or would it have permitted such stern coercive measures to be taken against it, such as conscripting its money and its men? But for the sake of war, of offensive self-defense, as World War I was undertaken to support a difficult cause to the slogan of democracy, it would have reached the highest level ever known of collective effort. And he's, I think, very aptly in that paragraph and others describing the lure of the state, the lure of war. Though we have to remember now that allure, that grandeur, that identification is not felt by the people who actually have to do the killing, right? And do the wounding and to receive the killings and to be themselves wounded. War makes this identification that we still today, even now, where our government or their government fights wars overseas about which no one cares. When's the last report you read about soldiers in Iraq, soldiers in Afghanistan? There's no coverage. Why is there no coverage? Because the good people know there's no market for it. The people who run the papers and the news sites know that no one cares. There's not that identification that was so ferocious at the time of World War I, at the time when Veterans Day became a holiday in 1919. That doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist anymore because the American people like you, my listener, no longer identify with the corporation. We no longer identify with this quasi-divine entity, America, we say, right? We say America, but actually it's not America with which we do not identify. It is the United States. And I think that while there's a slight growth, maybe in the past 10 years or so, in the affinity of people like you to America as an ideal and an idea, I'd like to suggest that there has been a much, in going in the reverse order, in the other direction, in the negative. There's a much stronger sliding away from the love and appreciation, the idealization, if you will, of the United States. I think that from what I can tell by meeting people, right? I'm in sales. I'm a salesman. I own a radio station, and I'm delighted that you would give me a couple minutes of your time here. I think to some extent, my hand on the pulse of Chattanooga as a journalist and as a businessman. Now, I have the feeling that the stock of the United States is going down. The stock is going down, and this gregarious celebration of the people in times of war, we don't have that anymore. We lost that. It's been gone for 40 years. That went out with the protests against the war in Vietnam. He says, for just as in modern societies, the sex instinct is enormously oversupplied for the requirements of human propagation. Think of Eric and Mike on that one. So the gregarious impulse is enormously oversupplied for the work of protection, which it is called upon to perform. It would be quite enough if we were gregarious enough to enjoy the companionship of others, to be able to cooperate with them, and to feel a slight malaise at solitude. Unfortunately, however, this impulse is not content with these reasonable and unhealthful demands, but insists that like-mindedness shall prevail everywhere, in every department of life. That is in the war economy of old, right? Of old. So that all human progress, all novelty and nonconformity must be carried against the resistance of this tyrannical herd instinct, which in that day, in which Randolph Bourne wrote, drives the individual into obedience and conformity with the majority. He's putting his finger on something which I think we don't know anymore, but I want to mention his work, because his theory is still correct. And we have the mournful passing of war dead, and we have today on Veterans Day, we have the celebration of the lives of those men, mostly men now, who were conscripted to serve. They were enslaved by the national power in their respective states, counties, and towns. They were enslaved, dragged away, and then they survived, many of them. Of course, many others, for adventure, volunteered themselves. And I have a son who is at Paris Island, where the Marines are constructed, if you will. They're beaten into existence at Paris Island. And I have a son who entered into that service and desired to be part of it for adventure, for the thrill of combat, for the thrill of explosions, of rolling in the dirt, of dodging grenade fragments, of killing people, perhaps. And many, of course, volunteer. And they too, though, have really a personal motive there. They're not really, I think, probably very few go into it to serve their country and their cause. Many, of course, do, and that is called patriotism. Patriotism coming from the word patrie, which is father. So there's a fatherly connection. They're serving their fathers. They're serving their betters. And they do it by rendering service unto death for their national government in places far, far away outside of their interest. Now, speaking of interest, if you have a desire for some green rectangles for some Federal Reserve notes in your billfold, why don't you go to Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds today? And he's offering cash for your gold and silver, whether it's jewelry or coins or collections, things of this kind. He is very glad to give you green rectangles in hundreds, right? If you're making a trade with Rick Davis, it's in green rectangles, Federal Reserve notes on 5301 Brainerd Road. He says cash, cash, cash. That is the alluring comment from Rick Davis, who will himself look over your offerings, your leavings, and trade you a fair amount for your jewelry. I have an essay going out today that talks about clever Republicans, and the Republicans are just too clever for themselves. And it is an essay by a very noted writer, Matt Truella, who is one defending, if you will, and helping us understand the doctrine of the lesser magistrate, one that Bill Knowles, our county clerk, should have given some attention to maintain his standing before God, one he should have thought about rather than having quietly violated his oath when Obergefell versus Hodges, the lug butt decision came down, which we somehow have deemed to be a law, though it is just an opinion. The essay by Matt Truella, the point he's making is that the governor-elect Matt Bevin of Kentucky played the Republican trick on people of good intent, and he played the defender of Kim Davis, the county clerk, and but what he's done is he's promised that he will allow county clerks to allow gay marriages and not have their consciences offended. He's found an administrative trick that allows them to keep their offices, not have to declare two guys or two gals as husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband. They don't have to besmirch themselves by making that stand. And he's going to make sure that their personal consciences are not violated. Well, he's not solved the problem. And in fact, like Governor Bill Haslam in Tennessee, Matt Bevin, the governor-elect of Kentucky, is an enabler and an imposer of gay theory. The hugely, vastly decapitalizing system of law that is now starting to churn and grind against the American culture, against the American economy. It is anti-capital to the core. It is not about the marketplace. It is not about capital. It is not about family. It is not about children. It is, in fact, anti-child, as much anti-child as abortion is. We have, in fact, we have here in Chattanooga, in the next day or two, we have a woman from Planned Parenthood coming to give us the true accounting, the true accounting of the slaughtering business called Planned Parenthood. She's going to be, her name is Elise Gibbons, and she will be speaking for the Greater Chattanooga Democratic Women's Club at the IBEW, the Union Hall off of Highway 153, IBEW Local 175. She says, we are a national leading provider of women's health care in this country. And women turn to us, she says, for the life-saving cancer screenings. They turn to us for birth control, family planning, counseling, and abortion services. This is David Tulis. There is a war, but it's not overseas.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
After the chilly start with areas of fog, expect lots of sunshine and great looking weather for today. Afternoon highs near 70. Tonight, clouds will move in from the west. A few late showers, lows upper 50s. For Thursday, any morning showers quickly moving off. Highs upper 60s, turning breezy and cooler for Friday. Join us for a Christmas auction and luncheon to benefit the media ministries of Abba's House, Sunday, November 22nd. Lots of great items for your holiday gifts, decorations, and food. For tickets, abbashouse.com/auction. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
The Fed raising rates, China's economy in trouble. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Patrick Neal. At Edward Jones, we provide the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Stop by my office next to the Target Shopping Center in Hickson, or call me at 423-870-7894. That's Patrick Neal at 870-7894. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now. 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducks. Call now.
Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the action.
Hot News Talk 1240.
If it's the NFL, it's right here.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
LT out in full force during last night's GOP debate.
Ronald Reagan was strong, but Ronald Reagan didn't.
And Ronald Reagan walked away at Reykjavik. He walked away. He quit talking when it was time to quit
Can I finish
talking.
with my time?
Why does she keep interrupting everybody?
Yeah.
Boy, terrible.
Fox Business Network and the Wall Street Journal hosted the debate. On this Veterans Day, a shout out from a sailor on the USS Kearsarge in the Aegean Sea.
I want to salute all the veterans in Long Beach and across America this Veterans Day. Thank you for your service and for defending freedom and democracy around the world. Go Navy.
Navy Petty Officer Second Class Tim Robinson from Long Beach, New York. And the bond markets closed today in honor of our vets. Stocks trading as usual, S&P 500 futures pointing to a higher open. Fox News, we report, you decide.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nooganomics with David Tulis.
Our theory here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio is love your neighbor, buy local. We are lococentrists. We are the people fleshing out the meaning of the word nougacentrism. So what is nougacentrism? How vain is it to think really that somehow Chattanooga is the center of the country, the center of the universe even. So we allow ourselves that fantasy as we explore economic issues, the marketplace, labor, entrepreneurship, and now we're going to employment, the idea of having people come into your company to work for you and to prosper your business. We're brought to you by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. He's offering cash for your, as he says, unwanted jewelry, your unwanted gold and silver trinkets and the like. He will evaluate the precious metals in them and give you fungible Federal Reserve notes, cash, if you will, cash, readily spendable at the new Food City near your house, right? Also, if you have the need for air conditioning services or heating services, make sure that you remember the men in the orange vans that drive around Chattanooga there to serve you. Superior Air Systems. Orange means superior. Superior Air Systems, 886-6602. 886-6602. Have that crew come in for the standard call of the shift of seasons. That's something you've delayed in doing. Things seem to be working fine now, but you don't know that for sure, right? You're not the guy who checks the gear under the hood there outside of the backyard. So make sure you call Superior Air Systems for that needed check, making sure your investment, that $4,000 you put into that unit, is not going to go up in smoke. My name is David Tulis. We're brought to you by all of our fine sponsors here at AM 1240. This is the number 5 show. I'm sweating a bit to try to make up for lost ground, but I've got Russell the Kid ahead of me on Digital Drive. He's the number 1 host here at noon. And after a little bit after him, we've got Sean Hannity. I think he's the number 2 star that we've got, the neoconservative, big mouth Republican who has a huge following all around the country, maybe even in your agenda as well. And 3 and 4 are Keon Rose, who is our sports hero, a very knowledgeable young man giving the world of sports. And then Eric Judd, the convivialist and lowbrow. That is the man who enlivens our morning scene with Bullet or Confederate Mike as well. My name is David Tulis. I do thank you for joining us. We have here in the studio Ronni Pruitt, who is the program director of workforce development and talent management at the Urban League. Ronni, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Well, what is ahead? There's something happening tomorrow about which my listener needs to know about, especially if he has a connection with a man or woman who is looking for work.
Yes, we are having our annual fall job fair. It begins November 12th, tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there's over 30 employers that will be present, 31 to be exact. They represent various industries, and those particular employers are bringing over 400 jobs to recruit individuals into. So I'm excited about the job fair, and we're asking Chattanooga to come on out. There's employers that not only employers from Chattanooga, there's also employers that are based in Cleveland. There's those that are also based in North Georgia. So North Georgia, Cleveland, and Chattanooga are all represented.
What should the listener advise his friend, the man he knows in his office who may be looking for a part-time job, or who may have a daughter who's just graduated from high school, or is working on an associate degree? What does he need to pass along in the way of advice to that party who needs to go to this event?
Yes, I would recommend that you go to our website, ulchat.net, and look into the information about the job fair. You will see a list of all the employers. What I would recommend that you tell them is that you tell them to look through the different employers that are going to be in attendance and do some research prior to the job fair by finding out what exact openings will they have. And once they find out, they can actually come prepared with at least 10 resumes in their hand and be ready to pretty much sell themselves and make a good impression on those employers.
Why is research valuable in that encounter?
Oh, it is very valuable because it shows the employer that you've showed some type of effort in learning something about their company. And you want to make sure that, that employer knows that you're interested, not just because you want a job, but that you're interested in their company and providing some type of some kind of benefit and asset to that organization. So coming prepared by learning something about that particular organization and being prepared with questions, that is essential when you're going to a job fair.
Well, I think that the applicant needs to realize that in looking for a job, he's not asking for something. He's trying to give something to the person with whom he's dealing. He's trying to say, look, I'm an asset. I'm a potential asset for you. I can help you. And so to show to make that understanding clear, he has to have some, or she has to have some knowledge of the party to whom he's making an application.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If you're going to help, for example, Lowe's or maybe a department of McKee Foods that has an opening, you want to have some idea of what McKee does, right? You may be dealing with the position that is in the general description of that company's business.
Exactly. It's best to know something about the industry, what they do, as well as what positions that they have available. So that way, when you come prepared with questions in mind, then you not only have a resume, but you'll also have questions for that individual company. And you're showing interest that you actually did some research.
And it might be wise for the listener to suggest to the man who's maybe needs to attend this event that you can have several versions of your resume.
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
Well, that's why it's important to go on the websites of those different organizations that are of interest. You want to see whether or not those particular jobs, whether or not those fit their particular current resume. And if not, if they can just tweak various different forms of their resume based on those particular job openings that company may have. So I suggest that bring various copies of their resume, of different versions of their resume. So if they want to go either in customer service or into sales, make sure that they pull out all of their customer service skills on their customer service related resume and all of their sales related experience on their sales related resume. So that way, when they go to those individual organizations that are hiring for either one of those, they will be prepared and have an advantage over the other applicants. So
the resume goal shouldn't just say to obtain full-time employment. That is simply not enough, right? That's not enough. That's not going to work.
It's not enough. And the employers know everyone needs a job, especially if they see individuals there. But you need to make sure that you stand out among the rest of the individuals there by making a good impression. And so that's what I would recommend that your listeners do, is that they advise individuals that they know that are looking for employment to make sure that they dress the part and give a good impression when they do come, and just be prepared. It's so important. I can't stress that enough, to be prepared, because these recruiters are motivated and they are looking to fill these positions. So we want to make sure Chattanooga is prepared and ready to go.
Okay, in sum, there are 400 openings that are going to be discussed among more than 30 employers, local companies.
Yes.
In an event sponsored by the Urban League of Chattanooga. Where is your building, Ronni Pruitt?
Well, we're at 730 East Martin Luther King Boulevard. If anyone in the Chattanooga area is familiar with Champy's restaurant, most people do know where Champy's is. It's like a chicken place, fried chicken. We're like a couple of blocks east from Champy's, and if you know where EPB, which is
that's
the
away
power
from
board,
town on toward the Missionary Ridge side of Champy's.
Exactly. So it's on the same street, which is Martin Luther King, as the power board. So you would just head east, and we're right on the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Peoples. And just tell your interested individuals to park in the back of the building. That's where the job fair will be hosted.
We're talking with Ronni Pruitt, who is the program director for workforce development and talent management at Urban League. Now, in a nutshell, what is Urban League's goal?
Well, Urban League's goal is to empower individuals, specifically individuals such as minorities, as well as other underserved individuals, and to empower them with by providing programs such as employment assistance and education assistance, entrepreneurship, health and wellness, as well as economic empowerment. So that's the purpose of Urban League, is to make sure that we provide programs to help the community.
What are some of the main ideas that the league has about entrepreneurship?
Well, that's not my my program, but we do help with business planning. My program is workforce.
Okay, so you, Ronni Pruitt, help people become with employment, not entrepreneurship.
Yes, but I know that our entrepreneurship program does partner with Launch of Chattanooga, and we help individuals who are looking to start with their business planning, and we direct them to Launch of Chattanooga for further resource.
Now, I noticed on the list of employers, we have Chattanooga Police Department. What do you know about that, about its needs and the needs of other governmental entities?
Yes, the Chattanooga Police Department is actually looking to recruit individuals. They are in need of more minorities, as well as individuals who are just interested in joining the Chattanooga Police Department. They are in critical need of police in Chattanooga.
TVA Valley Federal Credit Union, of course, that's not government, but they used to serve just government workers with the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Yes, they are looking for tellers, as well as customer service people at their different branches.
So looking quickly at the list, Ronni Pruitt, it seems that the police department is the only government employer at the fair tomorrow.
Well, Tennessee Valley Authority,
TVA's there too.
Will be there as well.
Well, has not TVA cut back on its employment in a major way in the past couple of years?
Yes, but they're going to be having apprenticeship programs directed for individuals who are interested in a career change. So Urban League will be announcing those really soon. But there will be apprenticeship programs, and they will be discussing those apprenticeship programs at the job fair.
Or does my listener have the hope that maybe apprenticeship as an idea will be making a comeback in the next 20 years, or is it still asleep as a concept?
No, it's going to be definitely something that they move forward with, for sure. And they're going to partner with Urban League to ensure that it's successful in changing that environment.
So again, this is an event on MLK. It's tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you are a listener. We know you got things going on right now, and you're not probably going to be attending this. But you are a man who believes in social capital. That means that you are very glad to give your time to other people who don't have as much social capital as you do, as many connections or as much money, perhaps as much responsibility. So what we're wanting you to do is to think of someone you know who needs to hear about this event. You're not going to go, but you are a wealthy man. You're my listener. And so what can you do to help someone get there, or to help someone find out about it, or to send, maybe you need to just take 5 minutes off your busy morning and say, I've got some emails I need to send out quickly in one phone call. And what you're doing is sending out the phone number for Ronni Pruitt. And what's the website link that this email would need to contain, Ronni?
It's www.ulchat.net, because registration is required. So they would need to register first. This job fair specifically wants individuals to dress in business casual attire. That is important. We're asking that no visible tattoos be shown, as well as any piercings or any low-cut shirts, that they put on a good impression. If they have any questions about how to dress for the job fair, they can just feel free to give me a call at 423-756-1762. Thank you.
Give that number again, Ronni.
423-756-1762.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that you make this proviso about folks who attend the Urban League jobs fair tomorrow morning at 10 up till 2, not having these markings. Are these markings a growing problem for people who are prospective employees, not realizing that they're making lifetime commitments on their appearance?
Yes.
What do you say something about that?
Some individuals just don't realize that that their outward appearance could affect, an employer choosing them for a position, whether it be in manufacturing or in the office. I mean, there's nothing wrong with tattoos, but we're just saying, at least have them covered up to the point where you're able to at least get in the door at an employer, because they understand individuals are different, and everybody has their own personality. But, just to make that first impression, you don't want that in that company, that representative of a company, to judge them based on their appearance.
Right, because the judgment is based on something that's superficial and something,
Exactly.
in fact, in that person's life is 10 years old, and
Exactly.
the idea is long past. In fact, it's kind of a little bit of baggage on that man's arm. His sleeve is there, and he can't get rid of it easily, and so he's burdened by it. And so, knowing that, he should not try to cause needless, pointless offense, not have people's guard up on account of this mistake. Perhaps.
Exactly. So they want to make a good impression and at least cover them up as much as possible. Now, I wanted to also add that the Urban League does have have suits as well as sport coats and slacks and long sleeve shirts that were donated to us by the Men's Warehouse. So if you know any individuals that just need a little help with getting that type of clothing, they can come down prior to the job fair. In fact, they can come today, anytime today before 5 o'clock, and they can obtain that. They contain information on how to obtain that clothing.
Again, the website that you'll want to make note of to pass information about the Urban League Job Fair on is ulchat.net. That's the part of the website where the person who wants to attend this event tomorrow goes to sign up.
Yes.
The main website you said though is vochat.net. What is that website?
No, it's ulchat.net.
Okay, I just wrote it wrong.
ulchat.net.
Yes. That's okay. Well, what else to mention right quick, Ronni Pruitt, about this event? What does the listener need to know about getting people to know about this? He has connections. He's got social capital. He needs to use a bit of his social capital to help that man he met recently at a restaurant who was looking for work, a little bit maybe bedraggled. Maybe there's someone that he might know at a church, or someone who has stopped by asking for work, whose card he still has in his possession. He can email that person and say, "Hey, did you hear about this event?" Is that the kind of thing he needs to be doing?
Yes, through text messaging, through Facebook, any other types of social media, as much as possible. And even if they are not able to make the job fair tomorrow, we at the Urban League are still able to assist them with finding employment. So it just doesn't end at the job fair, because I know this is short notice, but they are welcome to give us a call or go to our website and sign up for our workforce program. I have a team working under me that will assist with making sure that we find out what exactly those individuals are looking for. And because we are partnered with so many different employers, we're able to communicate to those job applicants on any jobs that may come through even after the job fair. So make sure that, that they still reach out to us if they're not able to make it to the job fair tomorrow. And I will personally make sure that they have what they need.
Well, Ronni Pruitt, thanks so much for joining us here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now that's something that you ought to, that this is something that you, my listener, need to make note of. You are involved. You're a capitalist, right? You're an entrepreneur, and you have social capital. And there are people who don't have the advantages you do. They don't have the insight. They don't have the background, the family connections, the business connections that you do. And so you have the advantage of being able to help these others, and that's called social capital. And we are wanting you to use some of that to get people to the Urban League jobs fair tomorrow. And that's there are 400 jobs that are open. And the man who needs to go to this thing, the young woman you met recently who is coming by your office looking for work, she needs to know about that. She made a good impression. She's just not right for your company. But you need to send her an email and say, hey, did you hear about this? I'm trying to help you. We are here to help people like her, okay, and like that other man. And we're going to use you, the listener. We want you to be involved in this extension of grace. It is an extension of grace. It is called social capital. And the idea of social capital has in it an old idea, really. The old idea was one believed in very firmly by the Puritans and the people who founded our country. And that is the distinction that you find in the Westminster Confession of Faith and other places in Christianity. And that is the idea of superior, inferior, and equals. And every person you meet is one of those. Okay, he's either an inferior, he is a superior, or he's an equal. And I know that doesn't sit well with people who are maybe democratically minded, but that is how the world works. And so, where you, my listener, I'm thinking, help people who are in inferior status than you. And that may be the woman with the 3 children. She's got one full-time job and one part-time job. She lives 5 houses down from you on the corner, and her house is a little bit run down. She's divorced, and she's got problems. And you bet that she hasn't changed the oil in her car in 25,000 miles. You know that you need to help her get that oil changed. In fact, you can do it yourself. You and your teenage son can go over there Saturday and say, could we just check your car out for you? Because we know that is something you probably haven't thought much about, but we're guys and we're worried about that engine. And you change her oil for her and change the air filters. She doesn't know anything about air filters. You do that for her. And why? Well, because she doesn't have the social capital you do. And so you're giving some of yours to her. Okay. And in the same way, this Urban League job fair is something that she might need to know about. Okay. But she's got these children, right? She's got these jobs. These are very stressful jobs. And one of them pays very, very badly. And she's in it because she's stuck. Can you help her? Okay. Can you help her in local economy? So you need to contact her. You can go by there tonight. All right. Go by there tonight. Take your son with you, knock on the door and say, man, we got this job fair we want you to hear about tomorrow. What can we do to help you? My son is home from work early, and he can help you make arrangements. Okay. This is the kind of thing that we want local economy to understand. And you, my listener, are part of local economy. You love your neighbor, right? You love your neighbor by buying local, but also you love your neighbor. And that I think is important because you're helping this person who does not have the benefits you do. Not blessed as you are, right? In God's providence. You've been blessed, so you need to help these 2 or 3 people you know about who need to find out about this event and encourage local economy. I know it's just employment. I understand that. But look, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. You have the prospect of being an entrepreneur. You are working on Plan B as the national sector faces its unwelcome bout of reality, right? Reality is going to be coming back to the national sector, the national economy. And you are going to be surviving it as best you can. You're going to be shifting for yourself as best you can. We believe that near is better than far, that small is better than big, and that simple beats complex. Personal, down in the footnotes, personal is better than corporate, and physical than abstract. We're brought to you by Rick Davis, wanting to offer you cash for your gold and your diamonds. He pays cash. He is a buyer of these metals. He's also a seller of them. If you want to make investments in silver or gold, Rick will offer you a fair price on a bag of silver, probably about $14,000 right now. Gold, I'm not sure where gold is, $1,500 or so. Also, we're brought to you by Edward Jones, the financial advisor. Edward Jones has a man in Hickson for you. The man is Patrick Neal. You can reach him at 870-7894. That's 870-7894. His office is right next to the Target behind the Cahutta Banking Company on Highway 153. His name is Patrick Neal, and he represents Edward Jones, the financial advisor, giving you great advice, astute investment counsel backed by a lot of research from a very, very high-strung and powerful team all around the country doing research for Edward Jones on investments. Make sure you get that Choo Choo Barbecue today. Go by Choo Choo Barbecue. Catering is number one goal of that restaurant, but you're not worried about that. You want to go in and just have lunch today. Go to Choo Choo Barbecue. Choo Choo Barbecue on Hickson Pike. It's in Hickson. This is the Hickson Choo Choo. Right near Valley Brook. 870-7894 is the catering number. That's 870-7894. Or just sidle up to the counter and order lunch. Great pork, chicken, beef. You'll just savor it. You'll enjoy it. And locally owned. That matters. That matters.
After this chilly start with areas of fog, expect lots of sunshine and great looking weather for today. Afternoon highs near 70. Tonight, clouds will move in from the west. A few late showers, lows upper 50s. For Thursday, any morning showers quickly moving off. Highs upper 60s, turning breezy and cooler for Friday. Join us for a Christmas auction and luncheon to benefit the media ministries of Abba's House, Sunday, November 22nd. Lots of great items for your holiday gifts, decorations, and food. For tickets, abbashouse.com/auction. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I love my Flex loan from Advance Financial. I needed cash, I needed it fast, and I didn't want to get a payday loan. My Flex loan from Advance Financial is not a payday loan. It's a line of credit. I only pay for the cash I need, and I only pay for the time that I need it. There's no lump sum payment. My Advance Financial Flex loan is an open line of credit, and I can get cash anytime I need it.
Visit one of our 24/7 locations and get the cash you need today. Advance Financial. Welcome.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
We do the best quality work. We have the best customer service, the most competitive prices around.
Cell Surgeon, a painless operation to fix your sick device.
Well, if you have a cheap charger or something that's not really designed for your phone, it can mess with your battery. It can actually fry your phone. So you need to make sure you have a quality product that's going to be designed for your phone.
Cell Surgeon, your smartphone doctor's in the house at the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
If you charge it in the morning and, by noon, it's at, 50% under normal use. That means your battery's pretty much dead. And once you've reached that point, it starts to deteriorate.
Cell Surgeon. Call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com.
We do free estimates. If your phone's not working properly, bring it in. We're happy to take a look at it and diagnose it and see what we think is wrong with it at no charge. Most phone repairs can be done in 30 minutes or less.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
Don't take it in the bathroom. Don't ever put it in your back pocket. And don't charge your phone while you're sleeping.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. That's cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. Cell Surgeon, your smart device doctor is in the house.
Do you have an event where you need to think about Choo Choo Barbecue? Delightful, delicious. For your office party, for your church event, or even your daughter's wedding. Oh, yes, Choo Choo Barbecue. Give Choo Choo Barbecue a whistle right now. Whether it's pork, chicken, or beef, Choo Choo Barbecue will come through for you. Take the time to savor Choo Choo Barbecue's secret rub and delicious smoked flavor. Oh, yes, I'm so hungry for Choo Choo Barbecue right now. Yes, I know your stomach is already there. Give them a call at 423-843-9554. That's 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue, the best barbecue in town, located on Hickson Pike near Valley Brook.
Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and to manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats.
Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brainerd Road and in Soddy Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's EJ Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead, 622-3156.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Fox News Talk 1240. Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Soddy Daisy. CBS News, I'm Frank Settapani. It's Veterans Day, and ceremonies are underway at the World War II Memorial in Washington.
Right shoulder.
And around the country to salute those who've served. Live to CBS News White House correspondent Pam Coulter.
Frank, the White House is taking new steps to help veterans, including ensuring they'll get in-state tuition at the nation's public colleges and doing more to make sure schools are preparing them for employment. Advisor Cecilia Munoz says they're also calling on Congress to improve access to health care and disability benefits.
These pieces of legislation will really ensure that veterans have the opportunities and assistance that they need to grow our economy, to advance their careers, to realize the American dream.
The president's expected to talk about the initiative when he visits Arlington Cemetery this morning.
Well, parts of the Mountain West and the Plains are getting a taste of things to come. WBZ-TV forecaster Danielle Niles.
The snow is flying. We've had reports of thunder snow in portions of Colorado and Nebraska. Blizzard warnings and winter storm warnings are up, measuring the snow in feet in some spots by the time the day is done.
Man working at a Goodland, Kansas truck stop says he's looking at a winter wonderland.
Yeah, steady snowfall and white and gray.
Forecasters say tornadoes are a threat from Texas to Ohio. University of Missouri police have arrested a suspect who allegedly posted online threats against African-American students and faculty members. A media instructor has cut ties with the University of Missouri Journalism School. Melissa Click was caught on tape teaching the wrong lesson. She tried to chase a reporter away from one of this week's demonstrations against racism on campus.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here?
For a lot of millennial women, there really is no place like home. Live to CBS News correspondent Heather Vosh.
Census data show 36.4% of young American women live with relatives, usually mom and dad.
The last time it was anywhere near approaching that level was 1940.
T researcher Richard Fry. In the 1960s, less than a quarter stayed in the nest. The rate increased sharply during the Great Recession. Unlike the 40s, women who live at home now are more likely to be attending college and less likely to be married.
Did last night's Republican debate jumpstart Jeb Bush's stalled campaign? CBS News analyst Leonard Steinhorn tells us how Bush did.
Jeb Bush needed to bring his A game. He probably gave his B game. The B is B for better than before, but B is also B for barely enough to get by.
Police in Birmingham, Alabama have charged an 8-year-old boy in the fatal beating of the year-old girl he was babysitting. Lieutenant Sean Edwards says the girl's mother is facing a charge for leaving her daughter to go clubbing with the boy's mother.
Her actions that night, choosing the club over taking care of her 1-year-old, is going to stick with her the rest of her life.
The Dow is down 15. This is CBS News.
I got hooked on Ancestry when I found my great-grandfather's draft card. With one visit to tryancestry.com, I also found other ancestors and the battles they fought in, medals awarded, even photographs. These discoveries were pretty emotional. What about the heroes in your family? In honor of Veterans Day, visit tryancestry.com for free access to global military records. Find, preserve, and celebrate your ancestors' military journeys. Free access is only until Wednesday at tryancestry.com. Tryancestry.com.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades wider teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
A report out today gives big-time college football schools a failing grade for diversity. CBS News correspondent Peter King.
Most schools claim diversity is a core value, but this report on Football Bowl subdivision schools says white men hold nearly 9 of 10 leadership positions, demonstrating that the old boy network is alive and well. One example from the University of Central Florida's Richard Lapchick.
The boosters are wanting their friends and people they know to be in power, and obviously doesn't work out. That is frequently a woman or a person of color that they're looking for.
Those positions include college presidents, athletic directors, faculty representatives, and coaches. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman has ordered FanDuel and DraftKings to stop doing business in New York.
Daily fantasy sports is not some new version of fantasy sports. It's really just a new version of online gambling,
which he says makes it illegal. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nooganomics with David Tulis.
In Washington, the numbers don't add up because we have the good people in charge. But in Chattanooga, the numbers add up because you have Eric Pelton shepherding them left and right, keeping the columns in order and getting the sums right and finding the deduction. That's E.J. Pelton Company. Eric is the numbers guy. He's a CPA, has been shepherding digits about for 37 years or more. And find out more about Eric at ejpelton.com. That's ejpelton.com online. Call him. He'd love to meet you. My listener, he says to you, come on by and tell me about your business idea. Maybe I can put your feet on the ground. Maybe I can bring some wisdom to your perspective. Just call Eric Pelton and ask for an interview. Say you're the you listen to the David Tulis Show and you're a fan of Nooganomics.com. The number is 622-3156. That's 622-3156. My name is David Tulis, and we're the number 5 show, struggling to advance ourselves in a very stacked lineup. We've got Sean Hannity ahead of us. We've got Keon Rose, the sports expert. We've got Digital Drive with Russell the Kid, the man who does not wear shoes and never set foot in a classroom. So you ask yourself, is that man ahead of the pack, or is he a Neanderthal? And certainly, if you listen to his discourse and his highly informed news coverage, you will figure that he is A and not B. We want to find out today about a group that's promoting the local economy in the tech sector, and we have in the studio Ronna Renee Jackson, who oversees what was and has been for quite some time the Chattanooga Technology Council. But there's a name change in the works. Ronna Renee, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
What's the name of the former Chattanooga Technology Council, and why?
Well, we're now known as Chatech, and the reason we made the change is just to more clearly identify with Chattanooga and all the things that are happening here. We have a 4-pronged mission to connect, invest, promote, and grow. And of course, that promote is about Chattanooga as a top tech hub. And so we're really focused on incorporating CHA in all of our programming names.
Well, okay, but when you say connect, invest, promote, and grow, that's not your organization. It's others out there in you might say, in your market. So who are these people in your market whom you're, let's say, connecting? How are you connecting people in your market?
That's great. We are a member-based organization, and so we have members that span from small startups, sole proprietorships, up to the large-scale enterprise companies. So our members also span 12 distinct industry sectors. So they're not all IT firms. We have insurance, healthcare, law, finance, transportation, logistics. So we really do connect people across a broad technology perspective in our monthly Chatech Connect luncheons. And then next year we'll be introducing industry cohort specialists where, let's say you're a healthcare company and you want to meet with other healthcare companies to talk about something real specific in IT. We facilitate that and have an event that's designed directly to deliver value to that industry sector.
So that's something beyond just a general lunch.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
these are very specific, where we will be surveying and working with those industry cohorts to say what do they need, and then we'll go out and find the specialist, the speaker, the white paper, whatever it is, to deliver value exactly to that sector based on what they're telling us they're interested
Well,
in.
now you're a nonprofit organization.
That's right.
Okay, so there's a certain kind of you might say chatter. There's a chatter orientation of what you're doing. Well, let me ask you this, Ronna Renee Jackson, Chatech organizes these events, but people who are in those industries they already kind of know who they already know whom or with whom they need to deal. They have a sense of where their business might be aided or cost reduced already. So how is it that you provide something that the theoretical marketplace does not?
Well, I think it really is in that connection, because you would think that everybody would know what they need, and you would think that they know who they need to talk to, but it's really interesting that oftentimes they don't. So they're looking for education, they're looking for solutions, they're looking for other partners, and in that intersection at Connect, we're able to bring together people from a wide array of the business sector, and they're able to get value from each other. And it's our ability to simply connect and bring them together through whether it's Chatech Connect, Chatech Social, Chatech Women, Chatech Executives. We have a wide array of programming that they're able to engage in with peers.
Well, it sounds like you have 30 people on your payroll at Chatech.
Boy, I wish, because it's me and one other person full time. And so really all of the funding that we get from our members and sponsors, and that is our sole funding. We don't have grants. We don't have foundation money. We are just member-based. Membership and sponsorship goes right back into programming, because we're really focused on delivering that value.
Well, has Uncle Sam showered you with digits, Ronna Renee?
I don't know what you mean.
Do you receive federal money?
No, we do not. I'm only members and sponsors. That's it. And so it's very local. And, the idea of a technology council is not unique to Chattanooga. We are a member of the Technology Councils of North America. There are 52 tech councils across the U.S. and Canada. And most of tech councils are statewide organizations. Like if you look at TAG, which is Technology Alliance of Georgia, huge, 98% of it's probably out of Atlanta, but very big statewide organization. Tennessee is a little unique because we're such a long state, narrow state. Each one of the regions operates a little bit differently. So there is actually a tech council here. There's one in Nashville, and there's one in Memphis. And all the tech councils across the Southeast get together and make sure we're all supporting each other.
So Chatech, the former Chattanooga Technology Council, Ronna Renee Jackson, is a kind of a networking hub. It involves organizations at their administrative levels and maybe makes connections there, but it seems to have a lot of interest in the people, the personal connections that enrich the life of a businessman, an executive, a salesman in a tech business, or someone in the banking field, perhaps.
Enrich the life of a businessman or woman.
Man or woman.
Chatech
right.
Woman is a big part of what we do as well. Not to pick on you, but we're just trying to make sure that we also are focused on workforce readiness. And so our invest component, Connect, we've talked about a good bit. Our invest is really, how are we taking the investments, again, of our members and sponsors and putting them into workforce readiness. Last year, we dispersed almost $10,000 in scholarships to college juniors and seniors that are majoring in a STEM field and are committed to staying in this area. Our members tell us that they're really worried about qualified workforce pipeline, and do they have enough skills and people that are in the wide array of STEM majors to be supporting the exponential growth that we're seeing across the businesses here.
Well, does Chatech have a position on government education, government control, the cartel of schooling? We talk about STEM. We know there's a STEM school. In fact, you were telling me before we got together with our listener that you have at least one of your children in a STEM school. So
that's correct.
That's a public institution. Is the state sector agile enough, foresightful enough, helpful enough to create that supply of people to work in the field where computing is an important element?
I think the demand is certainly there. I think everyone is interested in public education, upskilling our workforce. And so I think there's a constant pressure on that. We do work with the school district, with Public Education Foundation, with the legislative issues that are coming out of Nashville. We try and stay abreast with that. We are a 501c3, not a C6. But
what's the difference?
a C3 is charitable, and so we really are making sure we're giving back into our community. C6 is the organizations that are able to do more of that advocacy and lobbying,
Okay.
right? So the
Pressure group.
Nashville,
You're not a pressure group.
we're not a pressure group. Nashville Tech Council has both a C3 and a C6. So the way we engage is an example. Nashville might hear something that's circulating through committee or that might be affecting, and they'll send a brief to all the tech councils, and then we can send that out to our membership. A great example is right now there's some legislation that's been pending under the term Tennessee Revenue Modernization Act, and that just tells you right there, revenue modernization, and it's really a tax on software as a service. And so that's important to our companies because it might to our member companies because it could affect their business models. So when we get a brief out of Nashville, we'll share that with our membership through either our social media or our newsletter, or we're redoing with this rebranding our website. So we'll put up information that, again, is of value to them because we're able to bring knowledge to the member organizations, and they're able to get some real value out of not just connecting, investing, but promoting and growing.
I guess my question, which I'm still thinking, I still have the impression it's still hanging here. The question is, and I'll put a point on it, Ronna Renee Jackson. Does Chatech have a free market orientation in its desires and hopes for, not lobbying for, but desires and hopes for the education sector, or does it have a collectivist state interest, I might say pro-cartel perspective, in which we just have to tweak the government system of schooling to have more students who learn how to use computers and run software? In other words, what is the orientation? Is it sort of a state orientation? Things are as they are now. We can't change them. We just have to work within them. Or we really want there to be some changes where the marketplace in education on the STEM topic can have more influence?
Well, I can say that I personally want there to be more influence and more change. And I've been really active, not only in my Chatech role, but outside of that, trying to drive that change. Chatech as an organization has not taken a position.
Okay, well, again, the idea is that I'm asking about is marketplace versus progressive. Okay, the progressive is what we have now. We're in the progressive system. We have STEM paid for by taxpayers. We have state payroll people who are running these schools, administering them. They have some ideas about what should happen. Now the question is are those the best ideas for the student population going into the tech sector, or can we look for inspiration at the internet itself and the digital economy, where these things are held in discount, and you have many things that are out there that are essentially free, and favoring expansion of the digital economy?
Yeah, I think.
Where are we?
I think we're in all those spaces, frankly. I think there's a big issue right now with how even government can respond when a new program is announced, like Tech Hire is a great example. Chattanooga was named as a Tech Hire city, meaning, we're going to focus on upskilling people and get them into the tech sectors. One of 21 cities nationwide. As a community, we're struggling to how to respond to that. Do we apply for the grant? Who's going to run it? What are the organizations and people that all need to be involved? So I think, I don't mean to be vague. I'm not trying to dodge your question. I don't know, because I think we're across all of the different spectrums of what are entities and organizations doing, what are individuals doing, and how are the politics and the government supporting all of that. That has not been an area at all that Chatech has specifically gotten into. I mean, our mission has really been on driving member value.
Tell us about the Early Innovation Award program.
Yeah, so that's a great one. We partner with the Chamber of Commerce under their Spirit of Innovation, and we are entering our second decade of giving out the Early Innovators Award, which is really identifying a product or service that is homegrown out of Chattanooga, and they're pre-revenue or they're very small at this stage, right? They can qualify for Early Innovators and then move on, mature in their business cycle into Spirit of Innovation. But this year we have 3 honorees that are just tremendous. One is the ARC Labs, and they're really working on a water system that is able to detect leakage, and water's the new global currency, so there's a lot of discussion about that. How does that work? It's a sensor. Of course, I'm not the expert. You need to have Platt Boyd on to talk about that, but they he tells the story that he realized his 3-year-old left a faucet on and it went for over 15 hours. And he was worried, A, about the bill, but B, about damage when there's flooding and all that. So they're able to monitor remotely and have sensors, and they're looking at the commercial and business applications for that. There was another one that is 3D printing interior walls for construction. And the largest free-form 3D printer in the world is here in Chattanooga, and it's over at the Business Development Center where our offices are located, and that's Branch Technologies. And came through the Company Labs Gig Tank program this summer, and they have really done an incredible job. They print these wall structures, fill them with foam, do all of that, and they're able to be like hurricane resistant, but they're much lighter, they're easier to build. So that's a great new company that's coming out of Chattanooga. And the Early Innovators is just a tremendous opportunity to see all these different things.
So just about that wall, these walls that have special shapes and go around poles and things, or is it these just blocks that are light material that have some kind of padding inside?
They can do any of that. They can sculpt them. I mean, they've shown I think one of the pieces they sent down to a museum in Atlanta for modern art. I mean, they're able to sculpt them around shapes and structures and fill them and shape them after they're printed. So you can have a wall that is really like a bas-relief. Sure. They're doing really, really cool stuff. And it's, like I say, a free-form 3D printer. So it's really neat to see that happen. Has my listener missed the award ceremony? What happened, and what's the schedule of this The Spirit
program?
of Innovation Luncheon is hosted by the Chamber, and it's on November 18th at 11:30 at the Trade Center. And as a part of that big program, we will stand up and present all of our honorees for early innovators. So you can still get tickets through the Chamber or a link through our website and able to come to that event. And it's tremendous. You'll see Chattanooga companies across the spectrum, large, medium, small, early innovators, and established companies really talking about innovative products and services.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Ronna Renee Jackson from Chatech. Chatech used to be known as the Chattanooga Technology Council. We're brought to you here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio by Ducks, the indoor air professionals, in which the mysterious domain between your vent and your AC system is inspected and cleaned. The body parts of rodents and insects are removed, the mold and mildew blown out, and that is by Ducks, the indoor air professionals. 876-9907 is the number, 876-9907. Ronna Renee, my listener has children at home, and his eldest is a young lady. She's 17. She's just about to finish with school. And what kind of advice she has some knowledge about digital things because she's a social person online. And what are some things? So she's not necessarily going into your field, but what advice would you coming from your field? What advice would you have for the listener regarding his daughter in tech? Or if not in tech, in the idea of becoming someone who will work in a business? What are some things that he needs to be telling her and encouraging her to do or to think?
Well, I think everybody's in tech, whether you realize it or not, right? So that's the first thing, is to understand every job has a tech orientation. And so when you see students in particular coming out of high school and they're assessing careers, we talk about concepts of pay equity for women in particular going into a STEM field. STEM fields are able to have, I think, the closest gap on that pay disparity. And so it's really important. I would encourage them to look very broadly at what a STEM field can look like. It's not necessarily computer programming. That's certainly a viable aspect, but there are many, many architects, and I mean system architects, not necessarily building architects. So I would encourage any student to explore that through an internship or volunteering somewhere, just to be able to see the wide array of programs that are available to them, because that's the hot field of the future.
Now, STEM, remind my listener what STEM means.
Science, technology, engineering, and math. And most people also call it STEAM because it has the arts embedded in it. So if you stick that A in there, then you'll get STEAM from STEM. But really huge demand in the workforce, and the numbers that we're seeing on a national level are really frightening because students are dropping off and not going into STEM fields, in particular girls.
We have the most high-tech economy, the most digitized economy, and people know less and less seemingly about how it works. It's all as if tech and the online world were just magic. It's all run by magic somehow, isn't it?
Well, I think that's what people perceive, but it's run by all of us. I mean, the studio's tech, right? I mean, this is all digital and everything that you do. And so really every company is tech.
My listener's daughter has said, well, Dad, I don't want to go into that because I can't get paid.
Oh.
She's 17 years old. How important is it that she's paid at this young age, looking to find her way? Is pay important or is knowledge important more?
Well, I think that's an individual question because it comes down to some people are coin operated and want to be paid. Some are looking for more flexibility, which tech offers tremendously because you can work from home in many cases. It offers telecommuting in a different way than a brick and mortar company would be. So I'm always encouraging the young people I talk to go into a STEM field of some sort because it offers, like I said, the closest disparity, I guess, in pay equity. And it's tremendous opportunities, especially for women in STEM. And Chatech Women is aimed at promoting that and helping educate women. And we are sponsored and aligned with Million Women Mentors, which is a national movement to identify 1 million women who can mentor girls in STEM. And I'm one of the state co-chairs for that effort. And Tennessee has made a commitment of 10,000 women against that million national objective. And so we're out right now identifying who are those women and how are they going to get paired up with girls in order to encourage them and help them go into STEM fields.
I think what you, my listener, ought to do with that 17-year-old daughter of yours is to say, well, look, sweetheart, I'm here. I'm paying for you. I'm resourcing your interest. Okay. So if you have an interest in working with someone and having a connection with someone who runs a business or runs a repair service or something involving computers, just be there. Don't worry about getting paid now. What matters now is the knowledge. Your knowledge at your age matters the most. The more things you can learn, the more things you can do, the more things you can practice, the more valuable you will be. Don't worry about the money. That'll come later. I'm here to help you. And I think you, my listener, you need to be much less of a tightwad on that point. Ronna Renee Jackson.
To learn.
Ronna Renee Jackson, thanks for joining us here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Ronna Renee Jackson oversees Chatech, formerly called Chattanooga Technology Council. Its goals are to connect, invest, promote the city, and to grow the city. This is David Tulis.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
After the chilly start with areas of fog, expect lots of sunshine and great looking weather for today. Afternoon highs near 70. Tonight, clouds will move in from the west. A few late showers, lows upper 50s. For Thursday, any morning showers quickly moving off. Highs upper 60s, turning breezy and cooler for Friday. Join us for our Christmas auction and luncheon to benefit the media ministries of Abba's House, Sunday, November 22nd. Lots of great items for your holiday gifts, decorations, and food. For tickets, abbashouse.com/auction. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
The Fed raising rates, China's economy in trouble. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Patrick Neal. At Edward Jones, we provide the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Stop by my office next to the Target Shopping Center in Hickson, or call me at 423-870-7894. That's Patrick Neal at 870-7894. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now, 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducks. Call now.
Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, myself for all the action.
Hot News Talk 1240.
If it's the NFL, it's right here.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga.
Fox News Radio, I'm Carmen Roberts. Protest outside and inside Republican spar on the economy. One sticking point during last night's debate, raising the minimum wage. Here are Marco Rubio, Ben Carson, and Donald Trump.
If you raise the minimum wage, you're going to make people more expensive than a machine.
I would not raise it.
We cannot do this if we are going to compete.
I'm interested in making sure that people are able to enter the job market.
The Fox Business Network and Wall Street Journal hosted the debate. The search now for answers. Why did a private jet crash into an apartment building in Akron, Ohio? This woman witnessed the crash.
It's very close to home to me right now. I'm still shocked. I feel so sorry for the families affected.
All 9 believed to be on the plane died in the fiery crash. And Wall Street opens higher. The bond market closed to honor Veterans Day. Fox News, we report.
Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nooganomics with David Tulis.
People like me are prone to think there's value in supporting local police. And the value we see in supporting local police and the sheriff's department is because it makes a distinction between local and national, or local and federalized police enforcement agencies. Well, I wonder if maybe that's a distinction that's not really true, and that if we make that distinction today, that somehow we're overlooking grievous insults to life and to property and constitutional government that we've endured for many years now, and we've just kind of forgotten that they are burrs on our skin. We're told to support local police because the alternative federalized police is worse. Well, 43 states still have anti-abortion laws that are favoring life of the unborn on their books. These statutes have not been repealed. I'm trying to remember now if Tennessee does or not. There is a I think Tennessee is among them. We have a definition of criminal abortion that may not have been updated since Roe v. Wade 40 years ago. But against these statutes, against these constitutional provisions, in some cases there is simply an opinion. From 1973 opinion from the Supreme Court, which doesn't have the force of a federal law. It doesn't have the force even of a statute or a local ordinance. I would say that Roe v. Wade has no more compulsion in it than an ordinance of the town of Dayton would have upon someone who's just outside the city limit in Ray County. So, in how many of these 43 states have local sheriffs and police departments sent their troops in, right, the military types, to shut down abortuaries and to charge the abortionist, he's now called abortion doctor, right? That's the proper euphemism, with murder, according to local statute, according to state statute? Well, not one. In fact, here in Chattanooga, the police department was the harassing party to pro-lifers, to Christians of numerous denominations, to good humanists who saw that in Chattanooga Women's Clinic there was the destruction of innocent boys and girls at the hands of the fly-in doctor, who the last doctor there was a federal guardsman who had a national, I think it was a National Guardsman, who had a circuit of clinics at which he destroyed black children, a white man destroying black children, right? But because he was very impartial, he destroyed white ones as well, and some Hispanics here in Chattanooga, to the tune of 30,000 souls perishing there on Vance Road. So the local police are not really local if they believe, as most of them do, that opinions out of Washington are in fact law, and in fact have the power to vacate, as the lawyers will tell you, vacate statute, vacate constitutions. Police are a grave problem. They're a growing threat, though crime is half of what it was in the 1980s and 60s, and it's been going down consistently, despite the prison boom in the 1990s brought about by Republicans. We have the police problem, and I'd say that the police problem is part of the gang problem. Generally, I would put those in the same category. It's just that the police are a category of gang. They're a category of gang that is public and not private. The gang warfare we mostly hear about, such as the one in Texas, that those bad guys, those infidels are private parties. But I think there's the public ones are bad. I'm looking at countercurrentnews.com, and there's a story about a coin that has been given out to honor a New York Police Department detective for justified kills. It has justified 4X, and the coin struck by a private mint has 4 skulls on it. So these are people who were killed, but it was a justified kills. And so the money going to raise these, pay for these coins, the money raised from them is going to support the widows and orphans of police officers killed in line of duty. Very few number, that is. And there's a photograph of the officer's finger, and it has justified 4X. He had a tattoo drawn on his finger, justified 4X. That shows that he was a man of war and has been brave soul. There was a rendering of 500 coins sold out in 2 days. The second rendering will be sold shortly, according to a post earlier that the $10 will be raised by the sale of this coin. This is David Tulis, and we are here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Wanting you to celebrate the Democratic Women of Chattanooga. They are hosting a very fine soul named Elise Gibbons. She is the External Affairs Coordinator for Middle and East Tennessee Planned Parenthood, the party that destroys blacks. This organization is very, very racist organization. Margaret Sanger, the founder, was particularly concerned to get black ministers to propagandize ignorant black people about how they can get hip on their children, and you can get rid of children if you're pregnant, don't want a baby, you can just have that child destroyed with our help, right? Margaret Sanger, a noted racist and a noted eugenicist, the founder of the group Elise Gibbons, is here in Chattanooga. She is the guest speaker at IBEW Local. That's the Electrical Union Local on Highway 153, just south of the dam. Our CBS affiliate, WDEF News, has the accounting, and she wants to inform the members of this group that what is true and what is not true about the organization. And there's a quote here. At least we get an alternative perspective. It is from a minister, a Catholic minister, Father Davis Carter. He says, "I have no doubt that there is some good that they do, but we all hopefully do some good but we can't use the good that they do to mask the evil that is done. Of course, the story really should be explicit about what that evil is, right? It's just kind of a vague report. We need to have CBS, we here at CBS need to be very specific. We're talking about the selling of dead baby parts. Okay, that's the story, and it should not be sugar-coated or couched. Dunlap, Tennessee, not far from here, has a very fine story by WRCB TV. Natalie Potts was out there in Sequatchie Valley yesterday. The story is one of considerable interest, I think, because we have Beth Berger, the news producer over at TV3, getting staffing this story. Right, it's an important story that the station just heard about, and we have, thanks to this fine reporting on an important topic, we are learning about it too. It's about the family called the Gaddy family. Carol and her husband are let's see, his name is, hold on, his name is well, I'm not seeing it here. I didn't mark it on my printout. But Carol and her husband are living in a house that's quite old, built by the first judge in Dunlap, or in that county. The couple have been working on this house for 18 years. It was built right after the war to prevent Southern independence, and the city of Dunlap is trying to eject this couple from their property on grounds that it's unsafe. And the story quotes City Attorney Stephen Greer. He says, "No, they're in violation of all sorts of city codes. They're in the floodway and all kinds of problems with what they're trying to do." Again, the kind of a vague, half literate sentence. "The chancellor said we could inspect, and she will not allow it. And she will not allow it if we will let him deal with that." I'm not sure quite what that quote means. Gaddy, the woman Carol, says that she's going to fight this designation of the home being a safety hazard. Well, the story says it's a public safety hazard. Well, it couldn't be. It's a private. If it's a hazard, it's a private hazard at best. And it seems that the regulators should do what's reasonable, right? Instead of insisting that these people pay for repairs that they can't afford or leave their residence, that they say, well, we would request that you indemnify us. Okay, if there's some liability for non-enforcement, well, let the liability fall on the private party, the private owner of that building. Why not? Why do we have to insist that we got to have our way? We have to have our inspector, and we're going to give you a list of things to do. You and your husband working on this house for 18 years, and we're going to tell you all about your business. Well, that's something that we can hope for. Thomas is her husband. Yeah, his name is Thomas. He says, "I think it's a bunch of bullying and harassment that the city wants us to tear our house down, and it's ridiculous." He goes on to say, "We think that he wants our beautiful creek property to make a park out of it and put our picnic tables out there, because behind us, that is the Greenway." That's a quote from Carol Gaddy given to Natalie Potts, who's a reporter sent over the mountain there to Sequatchie Valley. And the headline of the story at WRCB.com, I think you want to read this if you missed it yesterday in the newscast: "Land dispute over Dunlap home." That's kind of a label head. It should say "City tries to oust family." That's what it needs to say. Label heads don't work. You need to have action in your headline. There's another story touching on local economy. There are people who are who are issuing unlawful coin and currency. Here, the currency is an issue. Bill Mitchell from our affiliate TV12 has the story. "Counterfeiters pick on Trenton, Georgia." Well, what's happening is that people with these fine laser printers, they don't have the right paper, but they've got the right idea as far as imagery goes, are trying to print $20 and $100 bills around Trenton, and the people are probably coming through town. There's a quote from Detective Tim Mitchell from the Trenton Police Department. He says, "We had a $100 bill this week confirmed. A version of it had passed through in Pennsylvania, Knoxville, Cleveland. Then we had the same serial number pop up here in Trenton, and that had initiated in Ohio." So there's a repeated bill that's going around, printed by people who don't have their crime is being hounded by the Secret Service, of course, the defender of the currency. The crime is that they're making counterfeit money in the wrong place. Trenton is not the place where counterfeit money is created. Counterfeit money is created at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, BEP, where Federal Reserve notes, the bank note of a private cartel called the Federal Reserve System, is printed with the imprimatur, the approval, if you will, of Congress through the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And passed over midnight when all the opposition was out of town. The bankers' bank, the friend of banks, actually the friend of big government, the entity that makes big government possible. If you didn't have circulating currency and coin that was counterfeit, you couldn't have all the good things the good people do. They would be bereft of means whereby to conduct biological experiments on the people of our country, to conduct, I mentioned that as just a detail, to conduct in the main the sweeping array of warfare programs, right? Social welfare and social warfare, bringing democracy to national economies elsewhere, right? In other countries that don't have the benefit of industrial debt capitalism of the kind that we enjoy here. We have to export that as much as we can, and that takes money, and that takes a central bank. And the idea of a government, of a country, of a state making its own wealth that way is, in essence, is an essential part. It is in essence a state progressive opportunity, something that in law is not allowed. It's not allowed in the law of equity. It's really not allowed in the law of commerce. But because commerce has been co-opted by national government, everybody who is a merchant, right, everybody who's involved in commerce somehow accepts the premise that the BEP, the Bureau of Imprinting and Engraving, and Printing, rather, it can make the money in its factories. But Trenton, the private issuers of counterfeit currency, those people have to be suppressed. They have to be put out of business. Now, there's a quote here from another party in the banking sector. The banking sector is the only one that can make money from nothing, right? The only and requires a $90 billion bailout. At least, was it more than that? Was it $900 billion? It was something more than that, but some huge amount of bailout back in 2007 and 2008. The only industry that needed a bailout that makes its own money, right? The quote is from Mike Tate, president and CEO of Bank of Dade. He said, just recently, we've had some small bills, 20s to be exact, that came through the fast food places here in Trenton. Someone has been passing them, and the businesses have been depositing them, and our tellers have been catching them. So that's a very dramatic story from Mike Tate, the banker there in Trenton. I mentioned the great warfare state, the welfare state, in thinking about Randolph Bourne and his very fine essay. Do a find. The find is on Randolph Bourne, Bourne, and the essay is called "The State." He from his legacy, though he was a socialist and progressive, his understanding of the warfare nature of the modern state is truly remarkable. And when you read that essay, you'd never know. You think he was one of those French conservatives of the kind of Alexis de Tocqueville, right, or Lamennais, one of those conservative free market oriented writers, or Frédéric Bastiat. In the same vein, this man wrote a little bit after them and declared something remarkable about national economy and the welfare and warfare state. I'm just about to post an essay at Nooganomics.com, of which I'm the editor, touching on Veterans Day. I'm a little late getting that out, but the point I want you to consider is one that you've already run through your mind once, and that is and that is the idea that local economy can't be radicalized. It can't be radicalized. It can't be provoked, as the surveillance state has tried many times to provoke other dissenting organizations. So local economy, which is our theory, is a kind of dissent, right? It is used to be everybody was local economy oriented, but now we have it as a dissenting theory from the national argument. So I want you, my listener, to be in favor of local economy. That's where you take your stand, right? You can't take your stand in Congress. You can't take your stand in politics, really. You could if you voted for the Constitution Party, but there's no safety in politics, and politics cannot possibly save us before the pending disaster. But the idea of continuing warfare against the people, not just in inflationary currency, but in many other ways as well, you will make note of in the story out of ABC news. Apparently, there's some mysterious maneuvers going on over the Pacific Ocean that are forcing a change in Los Angeles International Airport landings late at night, according to ABC News. There are, let's see. We clearly understand that neighbors and communities east of the airport will experience noise, and we apologize for that, Nancy Castle's LAX PR director says. The military is not saying exactly what is causing the change, and LAX claims it's also in the dark. Castles said all they know is that planes can't be flying at low altitude to our west, and some military goings-on in secret, much like those that happened in 1950, according to TechInsider.io. We have a story about biological experiments on the American people, biowarfare, a story by Kevin Loria. In 1950, September 20, a Navy ship off the coast of San Francisco used a giant hose to spray a cloud of microbes into the air and into the city's famous fog. Would affect 800,000 residents of the city. People, of course, did not know about it. The Navy continued the test for 7 days, potentially causing at least one death. It was one of the first large-scale biological weapons trials that would be conducted under a germ warfare testing program that went on for 20 years from 1949 to 1969. The goal was to deter the use of biological weapons against the United States and its allies and to retaliate if deterrence failed, the government explained later. Fundamental to the development of a deterrent strategy was the need for a thorough study and analysis of our vulnerability to overt and covert attacks. So what do? Well, if you want to test out a new virus, let it go. And the people, when just measure how it happens, the people, and measure, put people to the test, right? Put people in the medical field to a test, see if they can stop this practice run, right? This practice run for a virus attack. And we'll inject that into the air, just like the two periods in the 1950s where poor government slums in St. Louis were the place where zinc cadmium was poured from rooftops of these tall 25-story buildings over the population that had a majority of people residents under the age of 12. That was something that was done for 4 years, I think 4 years running in two individual events that are part of the warfare state, the welfare state. Again, not so much the welfare of the American people. My name is David Tulis, and I do thank you for giving us a couple of minutes of your time. We're brought to you by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. He's offering cash, the green stuff for your gold and your silver, your necklaces, your bracelets, things that you think may not be as worth as much to you as a little or a lot of cash in your pockets. Rick Davis will personally appraise your valuables and give you cash on the spot at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. It's on Brainerd Road there by the curve at 5301. That's not too far from the Eastgate Town Center. That's 5301 on the missionary side of Eastgate Town Center. This is David Tulis. We're covering free markets and local economy here in Chattanooga and beyond. We have the whimsical idea that if you love your neighbor, you will buy local. My essay today, what was I writing about this morning? I can't remember. But it was about, the picture is of a very fine event I went to last night with Trail Life USA. My son and I built a stove out of cans, tin cans. If you have 3 tin cans of the right size, you can create an oven on the cheap that creates a fire. You have a little bit of fire in the bowels there, in the little grate that you make, and you can have a fire that burns the gas. It's not just the material that burns, but the gas that comes from it also burns, and that burning gas is what creates the heat for your water. So with burning little bits of scrap, you can have an oven. We made that, and the picture I have I published that piece or not? I'm not quite sure, but it's coming out today at Nooganomics.com. Nooganomics.com is our sponsor, right? That is the sponsor of this show and the David Tulis Show. I'm David Tulis and the editor there at Nooganomics.com. I cover local economy and the free markets. I've been a newspaper man for just about 25 years here in Chattanooga, and I left the news business with newsprint ink stains on his fingertips, right, as I like to say, and now cover local economy here on the radio and at the website that matters, the website for the Man Who Matters, the number 7 platform in Chattanooga. And I think that the reason it's not a popular website is that there are really not that many people who matter, okay, in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that generally, but in a sense, in the particular sense of the arguments that I make, that are crucial, I think, to surviving the meltdown. Those are the arguments that give the main idea, the main outline of success, or if not success, at least reduction of damage in the coming meltdown. Caused by what? Caused by counterfeit. The fact that we don't have lawful coin and currency, and we have a cartelized economy that's made extraordinarily brittle. We have a kind of a monoculture economy where real signals, namely price, do not get their way in. Real signals, price, dissent are discounted and are discountenanced, and you're really not allowed. And so the system itself has built itself up in a fantasy world in which this is true, that money is free. That's a true statement in the world out there with ZPG, ZERP, and now we have NERP, which is negative interest rate policy. That's being discussed to help goose the economy, right? We have to have negative interest rates to get people to borrow more. Well, people aren't borrowing, and we are facing an explosion. It is an explosion waiting to happen. So what can you do, my listener? What can you do? Well, listen, there's a jobs fair tomorrow put on by the Urban League from 10 to 2 down on ML King. It's a couple of buildings up from the chicken restaurant downtown there in ML King, 10 to 2. You know some people who need to go to that thing. Send out some emails, make some phone calls. You, my capitalist listener, invest a little social capital to people who might need to go to a job fair, okay? You do that, and you'll be a good guy.
After this chilly start with areas of fog, expect lots of sunshine and great looking weather for today. Afternoon highs near 70 tonight. Clouds